this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings, fellow viewers, and welcome to another episode of the Vlogcast. Of course, this is our typical format, because we're lazy here in Tinseltown, where the tinsel is actually made of tobacco.
Now we're in Tinfoil Town.
Oh, the tinsel is actually made of tobacco, because we're in Richmond.
Oh, right.
We're in central, Virginia. Where all the tobacco is. Or tobacco, the tobacco.
Yes.
But today we're actually talking about the Oscars. The Oscars actually are finally upon us on Sunday, this coming Sunday for us. The 25th, I believe, is the date. Is that right?
That sounds right, yep.
Yep, 25th. So if you're going to watch it, you either have to have the live TV or an antenna so you can get ABC, or you gotta purchase one of those darn TV versions of your streaming app, like Hulu,
right,
or there, so you can get ABC. I will be doing a free trial of one of those just for this, because I ain't going to use it for anything else. I'm going to probably take the next day and unsign up.
And the show's on at 8, but if you want to watch the original songs and do some of that other fun stuff that should be part of the show, you got to watch the damn pre-show, which I think starts at 6:30.
So that's going to be there. I would say that we're going to live stream it, but then we would get so many copyright claims. It just ain't worth it. So
you could probably set it up to cut off the sound and just do our reactions.
That would be weird. Watching the
That would be weird.
It's like a surprise face.
But you'd hear a lot of cursing.
But yeah, I mean, we've got it set up so that we're probably going to have the first time we'll probably have been in the same building, potentially even unmasked. Oh, that's weird.
I know.
Maybe even I think I've got some of those cocktail wieners that have the croissants wrapped around them. Maybe I can fix those. We can have some fancy hors d'oeuvres and such. Yeah, it's weird. But that's one of the advantages of being vaccinated. I think May is going to be one of those months where we're going to start trying to figure out ways to get together in real life instead of do this. But we'll go ahead and get started. We're just going to go around the ballot order here, and we're going to have Jake start us off.
Hold on a second. Are you recording?
I am recording.
Because my screen here says something different. That's why I was curious.
No, well, I mean, it's not live. We are doing this. We're doing this strictly with StreamYard, with OBS recording.
StreamYard.
So yeah, we are actually not streaming live to YouTube because I'm going to be editing this a little bit. Even though I'm not so good enough to edit out all this middle stuff, so y'all are going to be listening to this vlogcast like that. But like I said, that's why it's an edited vlogcast for the most part, because you're going to see, instead of what I've got up here, which is a ballot, you're going to probably be looking at our lovely faces and Mo's edited rendition of our Oscars.
Nice.
So go right on ahead. I've double checked. We are indeed recording right now.
Excellent, excellent. So we are looking at. Sorry.
Very boring discussion topics. You know?
I just wanted to make sure everyone was ready. So we are looking at roughly the same categories this year, with two notable exceptions. One being that they've combined the sound categories, and foreign language feature is now international feature because reasons. And also because reasons, we've got some interlopers who aren't actually from 2020, but we'll get to them when we get to them. First off, we're looking at actor in a leading role, where the nominees are Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal; Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom; Anthony Hopkins, The Father; Gary Oldman, Mank; and Stephen Yeun, Minari. I am going to say this is Chadwick Boseman's category to lose. I mean, there is no question. The dude is going to win. He passed before his time. Everyone loves him. And this was one of his best performances. Not bad for a swan song, and the Academy will want to honor him. In the biggest possibility of a spoiler, and it is a possibility, is Anthony Hopkins potentially becoming the oldest winner ever in this category for The Father. He did do a pretty phenomenal job portraying the breakdown of one's mental faculties due to age and what have you. Riz Ahmed and Stephen Yeun are making history in different subtle ways. Among them being that it's the first time I think we've had two Asians in this category together. Both of them are potential spoilers, but very unlikely. I would give Ahmed the slight edge, and Gary Oldman is happy to be here. And honestly, in a perfect world, I'm torn not to give it to Boseman, but I would give it to Riz Ahmed if it were a perfect world. But it's a close call. Yeah. Close call.
So mine is not that different from yours, really. I've got Chadwick Boseman. Again, same reasons. I'm not going to retread that exact same ground. I actually do have Riz Ahmed as my second up, mainly because it does also hit the category features that aren't just straight white male.
Right.
But also because he did a phenomenal job in Sound of Metal. Then Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Again, very close to that. They're both kind of on even ground for me, but they're right there. Then I put Gary Oldman for Mank, mainly because, again, it reflects old Hollywood. And I feel like Stephen Yeun would just be shut out this year regardless of that. Though he did do a great job. And it's an amazing. Minari's a great breakout from The Walking Dead. I'm kind of glad he's got that. It was worth leaving it for.
I forgot he was in The Walking Dead.
Yep.
I'd forgotten. Okay.
Got his head smashed in with a baseball bat.
Oh, lovely.
So
nothing quite that gruesome in this movie.
Spoilers. But not in Minari. Not in Minari.
That's what I'm saying.
So, my favorite to win, I mean, it just kind of, if Chadwick Boseman hadn't died this year, of course, I don't think he would have a chance at winning if he hadn't died this year. For that,
he would have had a chance, but
I think that Anthony Hopkins or Riz Ahmed would have probably been the top runners. Riz Ahmed would be the one that I would want to see winning that category.
Right.
I still, there's a part of me that feels like I understand it, but I feel like they should instead do a special honor for the acting and career of it. And they do kind of a death thing there, but if they did do like a special honor award or something like that, maybe I feel like it kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. In any case, moving on.
Right.
Actor in a supporting role. Nominees: Sacha Baron Cohen for Trial of Chicago 7. Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black... Judas and the Black Messiah. Leslie Odom Jr., One Night in Miami. Paul Raci?
I think it's racy, but
Raci?
I don't know.
Sound of Metal,
Maybe.
and Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah. Normally, by the way, I would say that I've watched this number of nominees, but I can tell you, for the first time ever, I have watched every single nominee this year. Jake can probably tell you.
You get a cookie.
Jake can probably tell you which ones he hasn't watched if he hasn't watched any on that as we get to them. I think you've watched all the ones for Best Actor, though, if I remember.
I have indeed, yes.
So, for me, for supporting actor, Lakeith Stanfield, I think, is a potential lead for Judas and the Black Messiah. Personally, I think he was closer to lead actor, in my opinion, because he really was the main actor in that movie. But Daniel Kaluuya, definitely a close second, who played the leader of the Black Panthers in that, did an excellent job, exquisite job in that. Leslie Odom Jr., I think, is next to third up for the One Night in Miami performance. He did a great job, though. I felt like the guy who played out Malcolm X should have gotten the nod there.
Right.
Paul Raci and Sacha Baron Cohen I kind of have on even ground towards the end of that spectrum. I thought their performances were good, but I don't think that they matched the other three. As far as who in that category I think should win, I would love to see Daniel Kaluuya win it.
Blasphemy.
Maybe it will come true. I got to go with what I got to work with here.
Okay. Well, to explain my outburst, as he said, I have seen all the actor in a leading role nominees. I have seen all the actor in a supporting role nominees from movies that actually came out in 2020. I do not think Judas and the Black Messiah belongs to be here because it's 2021. And to complicate it further, what he said is correct. From what I have heard, Lakeith Stanfield is the lead in that film. Daniel Kaluuya is arguably a lead in that film. One could make the argument that Leslie Odom Jr. in One Night in Miami and Sacha Baron Cohen in Trial of Chicago 7 could be called leads because they are part of ensemble casts and they are a major part of said ensemble casts. The only one here who clearly is a supporting role is Paul Raci. He is the only one who clearly, indisputably belongs in this category.
Whole bunch of ensemble films this year.
So, that having been said, Daniel Kaluuya has this in a walk. Even though it's bullshit that the film is in this race this year, it is a lock to win this category. It's probably the closest to a lock in any acting race. If it doesn't go to him, their strongest money is on Sacha Baron Cohen or Leslie Odom Jr. I'm going to give a very slight edge to Leslie Odom Jr. Paul Raci is probably happy to be here, and everyone was shocked when they nominated Lakeith Stanfield in this category. I don't know how he got in here when everyone is saying, how did he get in here?
He was the lead. He was the lead in that film. I'm sorry, he was the lead in that film.
Exactly. Everyone's saying this, so you got to wonder how many people nominated him, and were they having buyer's remorse now? I don't get it. But he is guaranteed not to win, especially because so many people who would vote for him are probably going to vote for Kaluuya instead. I don't think there's going to be a lot of vote splitting in that category. In a perfect world, Paul Raci. Not only because he is the only one who clearly belongs here, he did a great job. It was one of the best performances of the year. I just hands down, he did such a good job in that movie. So in a perfect world, Paul Raci, but yeah, definitely Daniel Kaluuya in this world.
All right.
So next up, actress in a leading role. Here is where I'm jumping off the pier. I have seen 2 of the 4 films that deserve to be nominated in this category because the United States versus Billie Holiday 2021 release. But I have not yet seen that, Pieces of a Woman, or Nomadland. I have seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Promising Young Woman. This is widely considered the most free, open, wide open acting race we have this year. It's so wide open, people are talking about a tie. Like, people are thinking like it could actually be a tie. I'm not thinking that's likely. That stuff very rarely happens. But I think I'm going to go with a very, 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 very slight edge. Very slight edge for Carey Mulligan. For one, people were raving about her performance in Promising Young Woman for months, and deservedly so. She really does pull out all the stops and does a great job in that film. She's only been nominated once before, and it's kind of fitting that this could be seen as sort of a spiritual sequel, because in that one she played a young woman manipulated by a man, and in this one she plays a woman who's out to turn the tables. And so there's a nice little poetic niceness to that. Viola Davis is the strongest second for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I don't think it's her strongest performance, but she's friggin' Viola Davis.
Yeah.
She could make history winning, but also she's friggin' Viola Davis. She's already made history as the first black actress nominated 4 times. There is a good chance that she could be falling into the same trap as people like Amy Adams, Meryl Streep, Kate Winslet, Glenn Close, that keep getting nominated, but don't have a shot at winning every go round. She's my strongest spoiler, but it's still kind of hard to call because both Frances McDormand and Andra Day are also getting a ton of buzz. I'm going to give McDormand the slight edge. Day is a first-time actress, but there are those who will say she's got it made. I think Vanessa Kirby is the weakest of the bunch in terms of her chances. I've heard it's a phenomenal performance. I don't think she has much shot at winning. In fairness, it's harder for me to say who should win here because I've only seen 2. But I'm a big fan of Carey Mulligan, and again, I love the poetic circularity of her winning on this, her second one. So I'm going to say she's the should win.
All right, so mine is a slight difference, but not entirely. We're going to have some echoes of each other. We do travel in some of the same circles when it comes to these. I've tried to use a lot of my own instincts as instead of going elsewhere, which has been my typical thing, because usually I've seen like 5 films by the time we get to the Oscars.
Right.
So with this, I think Frances McDormand is going to be the winner this time. She's a critical favorite. I don't feel like she deserves it. I feel like it's more because she's Frances McDormand in a kind of artsy art house film. But then Viola Davis is second up. Again, I think you said it best. It's Viola Davis. I think basically if they don't want to give it to a white woman, they'll give it to her. Then Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman did a very powerful performance, very disturbing performance. And then Vanessa Kirby and Andra Day kind of holding up the rear. Pieces of a Woman was really good. She did an excellent job acting in that. And as far as who I would like to see win, Andrew Day. I know you had that anti 2021, but we won't be able to mention them next year. So I'm going to mention her performance this time. It was a very powerful performance. To me, the best performance of all of these, right up there with Amy and what was the other one that was the Judy Garland one? Judy, yeah. It was right up with those, in my opinion. It was an extremely powerful performance. To me, she deserves the award. So who knows? Maybe she'll get it, but I consider her the least likely.
There's a chance.
So I still don't trust the Oscars as far as I consider them racist, but that's still me. They try.
Well, actually, I'm just going to throw out an interesting statistic I read earlier. I was talking about the possibility of a tie. This one person was trying to make a case for it, of where they could actually repeat Oscar history, because the last time there was a tie, apparently was Katharine Hepburn for The Lion in Winter and Barbara Streisand for Funny Girl.
Huh.
And it was they're saying it was Hepburn's third win and Streisand's first nomination for her first role, and she's a singer turned actress. So here, McDormand would be winning on her third, and Day would be, winning as a first go round.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But if that happened, that would be interesting.
So we're going to the actress in a supporting role. So nominees are Maria Bakalova for Borat, subsequent movie film, delivery of prodigious bribe to American regime for making benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
Yes.
Glenn Close, Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman, The Father, Amanda Seyfried, Mank, and Yoo Jong-young, Minari. Now, to me, Yoo Jong-young will be the one to win this. Not only was her performance powerful, but I do feel like she was one that has some decent talk this year. Out of all of those, of course, second up, I feel Maria Bakalova would be the second up. Again, she's gotten a lot of talk, especially for a film like frickin' Borat. Has surprisingly gotten a lot of talk this year, and she's the one who's gotten the most talk of all when it comes to that, about how well she did.
Well, the most positive talk.
Yes.
One could argue Rudy Giuliani got just as much talk.
That is true. And he should have been up for the award. See, best cameo or bit player.
There you go.
Glenn Close, then for Hillbilly Elegy, powerful performance there, and Amanda Seyfried for Mank. I really didn't feel like Amanda Seyfried was that special performance. It was a good performance, but not to me like Oscar win. Not in the same category as the other three. To me, Glenn Close was
the other three.
I mean, the three.
You done forgot one.
Who am I missing? Oh, Olivia Colman, last place on that. But I consider them in that category. See, I even forgot her. That's how far back I put her. Even Olivia Colman is an Oscar darling from her last win. I still feel like the performance, I think it was a little bit better than Amanda Seyfried, but not anything more than the others. Glenn Close to me was an amazing performance. That would be the one I think should win. But that to me, I understood the power of that performance, and it just was it touched a nerve.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so this is a category where we're going to differ a lot, both in our rankings and our explanations. Okay, so I do agree that more likely than not, Yoo Jong-yoon will win for Minari. Some of my reasons are a little bit different. I really hate to put it this way. The Oscars do have a really strong history, an unfortunate history, of trying to make up for things after the fact. And I really think that all the bad press they got last year for completely overlooking the cast of Parasite and for completely overlooking The Farewell altogether. And that one also had a feisty grandmother character that all the critics loved. I think the fact of that is probably as much as anything why Yoon Jung-yoon is going to win. She did do a great job, but when do the Academy do everything they do because of why they should do it, you know? But my pick for the biggest spoiler, we have to look back a few years back to when Olivia Colman and Glenn Close were up against each other last time. And everyone was convinced without any shadow of a doubt Glenn Close was going to win the Oscar. It was her year. And then Olivia Colman came along and took it from her. I could see that happening again. I'm going to call Coleman the biggest spoiler, just because I could see that happening again. Partly because I disagree with you. I think she did a phenomenal job in The Father. I thought she did a really, really great job, and it may have been the strongest of this batch, performance-wise. I also disagree at where I would rate the others relative to each other. I'm going to put Amanda Seyfried and Maria Bakalova as third and fourth, but very close. It's really hard to say which one could win. They could go with Seyfried because they want to give Mank a little bit of an extra edge, or they could go with Bakalova because, again, it takes skill to go in situations like that and not break character. And a lot of people are dismissive of that. But no, it takes skill to hold your own in a unpredictable scenario and to not break character. And she did some really wild and crazy stuff. But she also had some great moments of actual legit acting. So she's actually the one I would hold as the one I kind of want to win. I would almost say in a perfect world, it'd probably be her for the win. Glenn Close, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. I think that, one, the negative buzz against Hillbilly Elegy means she is dead last in this category. There are no two ways about it. She will not win this. She will not win this category. But, yeah, because I'd love to see her win this and the Razzie for the same role. But... and I do agree she probably had the strongest performance in the film. And the film overall was stronger than a lot of people say it is. But no, she would be my last place for this. So, yeah, overall, Yoo Jung-yoon, definitely the strongest likelihood to win. But I'm probably going to pull for Bakalova just, for I'd like to see,
Hey, at least we agree on the winner.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah. So it's your turn, right?
Nope, your turn.
Or is it my turn? My turn. Okay, sorry. Animated feature film. All right.
I'm sure we'll agree on the winner for this.
I've seen 4 of these freaking stupid Apple. Maybe I'll be able to do something about this week. I don't know, but I have not seen Wolfwalkers. I want to see Wolfwalkers. I have not. So, of the ones, based on what I have seen and what I have heard and what I know, Soul is going to win this in a walk. There is not even much debate on that. Soul will win.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what I've heard, Wolfwalkers could be an outside contender. There's a lot of love for the film. There's people thinking it's time for Tom Moore to break through and actually win something. But it's up against freaking Soul. And Soul is one of the best films Pixar has put out. Pixar is... this is the year Onward was considered far and away the weaker of the 2 films. And Onward is a damn good film.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Pixar had a banner year here. I would put Onward as clearly the second best of the 4 I've seen. Now, that having been said, I loved a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, and I loved Over the Moon. They're both really good films. I don't think either one has a shot in hell of winning. And I don't think Onward has a shot of winning. If Soul was not nominated and Onward was the Pixar one to beat, it would have a really, really, really good shot. But no one's going to vote for that when they can vote for Soul.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go with it this way. Soul is the clear winner.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfwalkers is the spoiler, but not likely. I would actually put Farmageddon at number 3 because of the love for Aardman Studios and because of the vote splitting for Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably Onward, and Over the Moon is just happy to be here, sadly. It's Over the Moon to be here.
Yes. Indeed.
But in a perfect world, Soul.
Actually,
But I haven't seen Wolfwalkers, so there is that caveat.
so your choice of like actually yeah. So in any case, animated. Ours don't differ all that much. Obviously, it's going to be Soul. I mean, usually Pixar almost has a lock on the category, except for when they screw up, which they have not because they did 2 amazing films this year. I will differ from you on what I think on the order because of the love of Aardman Studios. I think if there's a spoiler, it'll be that Shaun of the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. I believe it was a Shaun of the Sheep movie that actually won an Oscar previously, and I feel like this one was just as strong as that. I don't think it won.
Let me look that up.
Look that up while I'm doing my talk on here. Wolfwalkers, I would say I would put just behind. Very powerful film. It's always a possibility, especially since it's the 3rd time the studio has been nominated. Then Onward. Onward is definitely more powerful than Over the Moon. The Over the Moon was a good effort and a suitable film. There was not a bad film in this category. I did not dislike
No Boss
any
Babies.
of them. No Boss Babies this time around. But
right.
Now, in my favorite of the year, the one I would love to see win, I'd love to see Wolfwalker win. Just because I think, one, the studio deserves to have a win, and this is an amazingly powerful film. It has a lot of cool stuff to it, a lot of environmental overtones that were also really cool. I just think it should deserve a win.
Good deal. So,
were you able to see if that one won?
Yeah, okay, no, Shaun the Sheep movie was up against freaking Inside Out. There was no way it was winning.
Okay. I swear.
It was also up against When Marnie Was There, which probably could have won. But anyway, Inside Out was a great one, too.
What was the movie? What was the movie name? Was it just the Shaun the Sheep movie?
Yeah. Shaun the Sheep movie, yeah.
Is it SHAWN?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I swear, there was a reason why I bought it, but I guess I bought it when it was in the
because it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. It really is. Anyway,
right,
go ahead.
So I guess I'm going to one I don't know a lot about, which is cinematography. But the nominees this time around are Judas and the Black Messiah for Sean Bobbitt, Mank, Eric Messerschmidt, News of the World, Darius Wolski, Nomadland, Joshua James Richards, and Trial of Chicago 7, Fidon Papamichel. All right, so out of this category for cinematography, I am going for Nomadland is what I think is going to get the win. Again, it's one that's been a critical darling. It does have some amazing work for the cameras, and it's been praised for such. Judas and the Black Messiah, I think, is the spoiler for that one. Again, some pretty good camera work, a lot of inside, outside photography done. Mank, because it's Mank. Then the last ones, Trial of Chicago 7 and News of the World, both had some pretty good stuff there, but I don't think it's going to hit those top 3. If I was to put one in as one I think should go and get it, I'd probably go for Nomadland in this one, oddly enough, just because it does have some good camera work.
Okay, so of the 2020 releases in this category, I've seen 3 of them. I have not yet seen Nomadland. I agree with you that there's a lot of critical love for Nomadland, and I consider it the strongest likelihood for a spoiler. But the camera work in Mank is flat out stunning. It is gorgeous black and white cinematography, and the Oscars will want to give the film some technical praise. So I'm going to go with Mank as the strongest one, but Nomadland is a second. Have not seen Judas and the Black Messiah. Again, 2021. I will say the camera work in News of the World is quite stunning as well. And Trial of the Chicago 7 had really solid work too. If it were my call, I would put News of the World at 3rd, partly because this may be one of its better chances to win. Then Trial of Chicago 7, then Judas and the Black Messiah. In a perfect world, I would go with Mank still, although News of the World would be a close second.
All right, go for costume
All right.
design.
So, costume design. We have, for our nominees, we have a Alexandra Byrne for Emma, Trish Somerville for Mank, Massimo Cantini Parini for Pinocchio, Bina Daegler for Mulan, and Anne Roth for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. All odds seem to be, all signs seem to be that Anne Roth will be the oldest ever winner in this category for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Everyone's pretty much calling her to win. And yes, the costumes were pretty solid in this movie. Arguably, there was a bigger job at hand. Definitely, there was a bigger job at hand with Mank, Emma, and Milan. I have not yet seen Pinocchio, so I can't really comment on that one. I'm going to go with Mank as the likely spoiler, Emma as a distant third, Milan as an even more distant fourth, and Pinocchio is just happy to be here. In a perfect world, Emma should win. I don't even know why that's not the front runner, but
Well, and we do agree on that. I think this is the only thing that we fully agree on in this category. Is that would be the one I would also favor to win is in a perfect world, so to speak. To me, I do feel like, and again, I'm not going on based on research, is more on my feelings there. Emma having the best costume design just because it's freaking Emma and does have the best costume design. And then following with that, with Mulan, which you know how much I hate Mulan. So the fact that I put it up there shows that type of work had went into it. It is a wide one. If it goes lower than that,
phenomenal work.
If it goes lower than that, it's mainly because of the reputation. Though I don't think that the reputation of enslaving people in China is going to hurt it as much as the doing a film about people in Appalachia hurts Hillbilly Elegy. As somebody who was in Appalachia, it's kind of a sad. Grew up in Appalachia is kind of a sad thing. But. Then Mank, again, the old Hollywood look. I thought that Pinocchio's costume design was very well done, and I would put Ma Rainey's at the bottom because out of all of those, it might have the talk, but to me, it is the least impressive of all of those in that category. They were good, but nothing compared to the others.
Okay.
All right, so director. So we've got another round. Thomas Vinterberg, Mank, David Fincher, Minari, Lee Isaac Chung, Nomadland, Chloe Zhao, and Promising Young Woman Emerald Fennell. So this is one I think that Chloe Zhao is going to win. I have a strong feeling she will win this particular one. There's a lot of critical talk on that, and I also feel like they're going to give it because I think they're going to like Nomadland as much as the Critics' Choice Awards did. I think David Fincher has also a good shot as a spoiler. Again, the Oscars love themselves some David Fincher.
Not really.
Or at least they like the, well, I don't know. They would like Mank. Mank is aimed at the freaking Oscars. Right. And David Fincher is like artsy director in this case. I think he's a good second in this. Lee Isaac Chung is a possible as well for Minari. I think that they want to try and go for a person that's not Chloe Zhao or a white male. They'll probably go for her. Then
for her.
For him, sorry. Then, of course, Emerald Fennell and Thomas Vinterberg, I feel like they are both lucky to be there. I'm surprised that Thomas Vinterberg actually managed to be one of those few, and there are those that are there that broke out of the international and are in other categories, which is very good. Another Round was a good film, but I don't think it's enough to stand up against those top three of any way, shape, or form. As far as Perfect World, you know what? I would go with Chloe Zhao. It was a well-directed film. A lot of the people that she was directing were not actors, and to get that kind of performance out of non-actors takes an amazing amount of skill.
Well, I'm going to differ from you in almost every beat from what you just said, with just a couple exceptions. One, your feelings or not, Chloe Zhao is going to win. There is nobody out there saying anything else. She has this one in the bag.
Hey, I put her one of the closest.
Yeah. But that is, like I said, that is one of the surest bets in this Oscar. And she, it's been like a while coming. She's had a bunch of critically beloved films that flew under the radar, and this one caught fire in a big way. I have not yet seen Nomadland, so I can't comment on this particular one. I have seen all the others, and I would say if there's a strongest spoiler, it's going to be Emerald Fennell, simply because this is the first time ever that the Academy has had two women. And they're going to want to build on that. They're not going to have this and give it to a man. I think there would be way too much blowback for that. And Fennell got tons of praise for her movie. It's considered one of the best debuts of the past couple decades. The fact that she is a first-time director is very much against her. But she's still the strongest spoiler. Zhao has the momentum as well of being potentially the first woman of color to ever win, and only the second one ever to win. Fennell would be the second one to win. If it went to a third, I would go Lee Isaac Chung. He would be only the third Asian to win. There is a lot of love for Minari. David Fincher, contrary to what you said, the Oscars do not like David Fincher all that much. This is his third nomination. He was not nominated for Seven. He was not nominated for Fight Club. He was not nominated for a bunch of great films that he did, and he has never won. So I think he's going to go home empty-handed yet again. And Vinterberg, yes, he was a shocker. Everyone was surprised. But I learned something recently that might explain why he got in, if people know the story. Apparently, he was convinced to turn his play into a movie because of his daughter. And she was all set to star in the film as Mickelson's daughter. And then she was killed in a car accident in early pre-production. So that completely changed the direction and tenor of the film, which ended up being dedicated to her. And I wonder if that's part of the reason why Vinterberg got the nomination. That sort of like nice little kind of, we're going to stand by you kind of thing. Maybe I could be wrong, but it's as good an explanation as any. But he's still lucky to be there, I admit. Another Round was great, but now as far as should win, I haven't seen Nomadland, so I can't really pick that one. I loved Promising Young Woman, but I actually thought that the direction could have been stronger. I thought the film was a little bit uneven tonally. Fincher did great with Mank. Vinterberg did great with Another Round, but I would go with Lee Isaac Chung with the asterisk that I haven't seen Nomadland.
All right.
Yeah.
Documentary feature.
So, documentary feature. And now we're getting to the stuff where I ain't seen crap. I have seen My Octopus Teacher.
Ah.
That's it. But based on what I know in this one, it has for a long time been a two-dog fight between Time and Collective. Lately, My Octopus Teacher has gotten a lot of buzz. And Crip Camp has had a lot of buzz all along. But if I had to call it, I'm going to say Time is going to win. Collective is the most likely spoiler, followed closely by My Octopus Teacher. Crip Camp is the fourth, but a possible spoiler. The Mole Agent is probably lucky to be here. I just have not heard the buzz on that one, except from you, really. Since the only one I've seen is My Octopus Teacher, and I love a good nature documentary, I'm going to go ahead and say that in a perfect world, that'll be the winner. But with the huge asterisk that I really haven't seen the others.
So, I don't differ that much on this one. I do think The Collective is the one that is going to win, but that's been it's been leading in there for a while. Time is up there for a second. I don't feel like Time did as good a job because though there are a lot of strong racial overtones with certain movies, and we'll see that also when we talk about Short Subject, which Time has, and I've seen, and again, as I said, I've seen all of these. But Time, I felt Time did not do it quite as well. I feel like the subject there did not have the strong, it had a strong, but not as strong as Collective did. And I think the Collective is going to take that win. Crip Camp is the third out spoiler. I think in many times that one would be there. It is to me it is the strongest and best documentary feature of the lot. It is my pick. It is something that's very important. Oscars usually do ignore disability when it comes to other things, which is a sad thing because disability should be right up there with race and sexual orientation, and but usually it's like, and that was an amazing documentary. The Mole Agent also very well in there. I put that one in Octopus Teacher on even ground. The Mole Agent had originally, back when and this is a long time ago, and buzz changes constantly, had some buzz for that being a double for that in international because it was on the short list for both. But it was a very good one and also a very powerful documentary about not just the country but about how people treat their elderly. It is a really good one. And My Octopus Teacher, good nature documentary, but. And it could. That one could be the long shot. It could be the what was it? The one that was the one about the free climber. What was it?
Right.
I mean,
Free Solo.
I wouldn't have predicted that one to win when you got so many strong thing. And that was when Won't You Be My Neighbor came out that year, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one got
And that-
reamed, and a lot of people felt that this year the documentary was apparently a very, 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 very solid category this year, and a lot of people felt that some really awesome ones got snubbed. So,
Yeah. That 1 year, like I said, I think I think they left that one off purposely because they knew it would have beaten the one they wanted.
Right. Jerks.
So, documentary sort subject. Colette, Anthony Giachan,
Adele Dazeem.
Yes, and Alice, Giacchino and Alice Doyard. A Concerto is a Conversation, Ben Proudfoot and Chris Bowers. Do Not Split, Anders Hammer and Charlotte Cook. Hunger Ward, Sky Fitzgerald and Michael Sherman. And a love song for Latasha, Sophia Nali and Allison and Janice Duncan. So talk about race. A love song for Latasha, in my opinion, and it's usually not as much buzz when it comes to short subject. Whenever I would do the research, I only usually found one or two groups of people talking about short subject.
Right.
Because they make it so hard to find them.
But this year was a little different.
Yeah. So to me, a love song for Latasha is the one to beat this year. It had a lot of power behind it. It was right up there about the death that sparked the LA riots. Again, talking about race when you're talking about time, this one held it right there. Colette, I have as a second or spoiler, right next to A Concerto as a Conversation, which, like I say, I have those kind of equal footing. You could go with either one of those as a spoiler. Do Not Split and Hunger Ward, I've got them right at the end, though both of them pretty good in their own rights. But I do think that if Collective doesn't win, I don't think Hunger Ward will win because those are in similar. In similar.
Did you say which one? Did you say which one should win?
I would love to see Love Song for Latasha win. I actually am right there with it. So.
Okay. This is an interesting one for me because I've actually seen 6 eligible films in this category, but I've only seen 3 of the nominees. It's strangely enough the only short category I haven't completed yet. So I have not yet seen Do Not Split or Hunger Ward, but I have seen the other 3. And everything that I have read and based on what I've seen, I do think A Love Song for Latasha is very likely to win. It is very likely. I don't think it's a lock for the win, but it's likely to win. A Concerto as a Conversation is probably the strongest spoiler based on what I've read and heard. I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty strong, but I wouldn't necessarily. I've been surprised at the buzz it's getting. I've also seen a fair bit of buzz, certainly some controversy surrounding Do Not Split. I have heard very little about Hunger Ward and I haven't seen it yet. And Colette, frankly, of the 6 I've seen, Colette was the one that did not engage me at all. And I can't even remember it. It did not engage me at all. All the others did. So I really feel like they could have picked a better one for that slot. And I think both that one and Hunger Ward have little enough buzz that I can just say they're happy to be there. In a perfect world, I'd kind of like to give it to A Concerto as a Conversation because of it just intrigued me. But I'm actually going to go with A Love Song for Latasha because it was a pretty powerful film. Again, with the asterisk that I've not yet seen 2 of them. So, and I do want to say before we move on, I feel bad that I didn't read off the nominees for feature. Collective, the nominees are Alexander Nanau and Bianca Lana. My Octopus Teacher, Pippa Ehrlich, James Reed, and Craig Foster. Time, Garrett Bradley, Lauren Domino, and Kellen Quinn. The Mole Agent, Maite Alberti and Marcela Santabanez, and Crip Camp, Nicole Noonan, James Liebrecht, and Sarah Boulder. All right.
Yeah, I'd also like to see Collective win because I actually own it, so that would make it easier.
Right. I will be watching it I will be watching that this week. Well, and some of the others too. So, best achievement in film editing. It is me, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, the nominees are Alan Baumgarten for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Friedrich Thorvald for Promising Young Woman, Yorgos Lamprinos for The Father, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Mikael E.G. Nielsen for Sound of Metal. Again, I have not seen Nomadland, but I've seen the others. That having been said, this is kind of a hard one to call, and there are two of them that a lot of people are bandying about. I'm going to err on the side of those who feel that this might be the consolation prize for The Trial of the Chicago 7. I think that it is very well edited. It's a very well regarded film that is just coming up short here at the end of the race. I think this will be its consolation prize. That having been said, there's a lot of people who say Nomadland is going to win. And having not seen it, I can't really comment on which one's the better of the two. But I'm going to say Trial of the Chicago 7 is the likely winner, when Nomadland is the likely spoiler. That having been said, Promising Young Woman was well edited. Sound of Metal was freaking very well edited. And The Father, the editing was phenomenal in that film. All of these were great films. All of them were well done. The Father and Sound of Metal, I think, are going to be numbers. Okay, let me rephrase that. In a perfect world, they would be much higher. But honestly, I hate to say it, Sound of Metal is probably the least likely to win here. I think The Father has a fair shot in third place. Promising Young Woman has an outside chance in fourth place. Sound of Metal is happy to be here. In a perfect world, The Father would win, and Sound of Metal would be the strongest spoiler.
So I differ from you in some areas. We tend to come together a lot more on the top title because I also agree. I think Nomadland is going to win. I have very strong thoughts that Nomadland is going to win this. I think that The Father is going to be a second in this. Again, phenomenal editing. And I think Promising Young Woman is the third, Sound of Metal in the fourth. And I think Trial of Chicago 7 is going to be shut out this year. I just have a strong thought that that's going to happen. And
it could be.
It would not be the first time that a film like that has been shut out. If in a perfect world, I would put Sound of Metal as my choice because it was phenomenal editing. It's a phenomenal film, and I don't think it's going to get the love that it deserves this year. That's my 2 cents.
Part of the thing I will argue with both that one and The Father. The others, arguably. But I do believe both of those, the editing is crucial and central to what made the films work. Like, and one could argue that one of the reasons that Promising Young Woman wasn't more brilliant was that it could have been edited more tightly. But, yeah.
So now we're going to a category that I normally don't, that and the short films, but one that I normally don't see, and I saw most of these, sadly, at the end of this.
Right.
But
you still got me beat.
But I have seen all of them. So, for International Feature Film, Another Round, Denmark, Better Days, Hong Kong, Collective, Romania, The Man Who Sold His Skin, Tunisia, and Quo Vadis Aida, Bosnia and Herzegovina. We have a very cool grouping of countries this year round.
Right.
Now, to me, I think that the clear winner is going to be another round, but I think Collective is going to be right up there against it, especially if it doesn't win documentary feature. I think those two are the ones that are going to be vying, though I think another round has this. The Man Who Sold His Skin, I've heard some good things about it. I am surprised that a film that has it must have hit some festivals or something, because it hasn't managed to get an actual theatrical release until recently. So it's just kind of weird how
That surprises you?
Well, I don't know. It's just kind of weird for that one. That one.
I mean, again,
yeah, but it has.
that's one of the reasons why I get so annoyed with the foreign.
To me, it's even more annoying than Judas and the Black Messiah, because it didn't get it. I don't even think it has had. It didn't have it until last week, a full theatrical release in its home country. So it does make me wonder.
That is weird. Yes, I'm looking.
Because
I
was actually reading I actually read up on. I think it got some very limited releases, but it was not able to get a full-on release. They struggled to get that thing to theaters.
Right.
So again, I don't feel like it should have been up this year, much like you would say for the others.
Well, I'm looking at this. The weirdest thing is that IMDb only lists 2 festivals before the cutoff date for foreign feature.
Yeah.
They do list 3 additional festivals in 2020 and 2 additional festivals in 2021 prior to the cutoff date there. But yeah, you're right. The international debut supposedly was in Brazil, and that was after the cutoff. So that's weird.
But I do think it's a third very powerful film. I'm about to go. Okay, I was looking down at the film editing. That would have been weird. And Sound of Metal, which nope, wrong one.
Wait. What's up?
So
what are you doing?
I was looking at the wrong list. I was like, Sound of Metal. Nope, not that. Wrong one. So Quo Vadis Aida and Better Days are going to be at the end of this. I really want Better Days to win, because I do. I have a lot of, and I know it's not what's the word? It's not progressive to hate on China right now, which is kind of weird. Because it's not the same thing. Hating on the Chinese government is not the same thing as hating on the Chinese people. Which I don't think. I think that a lot of people who are in there saying, if you hate on the Chinese government, you are anti-Asian, and that is not true. By any sake. Matter of fact, if you hate on the Chinese government, you're more pro-Chinese people in a lot of ways because of how they're torturing the people. But I look at Better Days. One, it is a powerful feature on bullying within that school system. And 2, it is probably one of the last free films to come out of Hong Kong. And it had to fight to get there because the Chinese government has been ramping up on Hong Kong. I don't think you're going to see another film like this out of Hong Kong in the future. It's all going to be CCP, Communist Chinese government approved film. That's all you're going to get from here on out. And I hate that it's probably going to get ignored this year. It needs to win, but it's not going to win.
Right. So here's another one where I've been slacking. I've seen another round. Now, luckily, I have absolutely no qualms whatsoever saying that, well, that one's going to win anyway. I mean, there's no question. This movie is probably the strongest lock in this Oscars, other than maybe Chloe Zhao for director. This is, well, we'll get to another one coming up. I think animated short is also a lock, and arguably animated feature. But anyway, it is one of the strongest locks. And it is a great film. Now, Collective is the strongest spoiler. It has a decent shot, given the fact that what the stranglehold in another round has on the top. Collective has the strongest shot at a spoiling role. I would personally put Better Days at number 3. And I think The Man Who Sold His Skin and Kovadi Saida are going to be, well, they're kind of lucky to be here. It's really going to be another round. And because I've only seen another round, and because it's an excellent film, well, what the heck? I'll say in a perfect world, it would be another round. But, again, with that huge asterisk, I just haven't seen more, sadly. So anyway, back up to me, right?
Yep.
Got makeup and hairstyling. And for the first time in years, we have a field of 5. Wow.
And no Strange films either, other than maybe Pinocchio, but I would still consider that very different from, say, Norbit.
Right. So we have Pinocchio, Mark Collier, Delia Colli, and Francesco Pegoretti. We have Sergio Lopez Rivera, Mia Neal, and Jamaica Wilson for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Maurice Langan, Laura Allen, and Claudia Stolz for Emma, Aaron Kruger-Makash, Matthew W. Mungle, and Patricia Dehaney for Hillbilly Elegy, and Gigi Williams, Kimberly Spiteri, and Colleen LaBeouf for Mank. First of all, let me just say once again that is an absolute crime and an absolute embarrassing shame. The Academy gave an Oscar to Suicide Squad and did not even nominate the better follow-up film.
No superhero films this year.
That having been said, yes, I have not seen Pinocchio. I cannot comment on it. But of the other choices, the clear frontrunner in this category is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It is very, very, very likely to win. However, there are some decent spoilers here. I think Mank is probably second. Emma probably third. Hillbilly Elegy is fourth, but close behind Emma. And Pinocchio, again, is probably lucky to be here. I would rank Hillbilly Elegy higher, but the controversy over the film and the backlash it got for getting any nominations, whether or not they're fair, will hurt its chances. In a perfect world, this is hard to call. I actually thought that all 4 of the ones I've seen were pretty solid. I'm going to say in a perfect world, Mank had the very strong issue that it covered a lot of time, a lot of ground time-wise, and I don't think they convincingly aged and de-aged the actors. Yeah. I think the hairstyling was phenomenal, and most of the makeup was good, but the aging effects, I don't think they were really there.
I think they're
so I would actually put Hillbilly Elegy higher than Mank. I would say in a perfect world, it should be between Emma and Ma Rainey. And I'm going to go Emma just because I want to see it win.
So with me, I actually put Emma as the top there. I think if Emma does get any wins this year, and again, this is banking on it actually winning anything. If it doesn't get shut out this year, I think it will get the makeup and hairstyling and costume design awards. Again, that is if it wins anything. I think it's going to be an all or nothing. I don't think it's going to take one or the other. I think it'll either lose out or it'll win.
Costume often goes to something that doesn't win anything else.
But as far as that, Ma Rainey and Mank, I have them about even keel when it comes to second place on there, deserved or not. Hillbilly Elegy next, and Pinocchio kind of last out there. I do feel like there was aging shown in Mank, but I think that it was uneven. I really do not feel like the. I think that Mank is only really there mainly because of the old Hollywood connection.
Right.
I have my own issues with Ma Rainey in that suggestion as well, even though I do feel like it is good job makeup wise. I do feel like a lot of these places here should have gone to films like Wonder Woman, and Birds of Prey, films that actually really work with makeup. Matter of fact, I consider makeup one of those that can get outliers. I was almost going to lead this comically and say, well, my first place would be Norbit 2, Electric Boogaloo. but you know, that's the thing. I think that makeup is something that shows some of Oscar snobbery, because a lot of films.
If you want to think outside the box, thinking more seriously, Fangoria just gave a makeup award to color out his face. I mean,
well, again, that's the thing. Is I think a lot of times films like that get. This is one of the other reasons why I tried to insist on certain things with the awards that we're doing, because the Oscars do snub films that do amazing makeup jobs because they are like, nah, they don't fit our way. But that being said, if I was to go with one that I think did the best job for makeup, I would give it to Pinocchio, believe it or not. I think that they did the best makeup out of all of these. When it came to that, they did a very convincing job. Some of the stuff looked like it could only have been done by CG, but actually done practically. And that, to me, shows amazing quality and ability that should be rewarded. I'm guessing the reward is basically its nomination. But with that being said. All right, so music, original score. Not only have I listened to all of them, but I've seen all of them. Unfortunately, in some cases. Oh wait, Gore. I'm thinking original song. Sorry, when I'm thinking about it, that was more of my stuff here. I'm having to find my original score because I've lost it somewhere.
I have it.
Actually, no, I never bothered to cover it with my. So I'll be hitting this on the fly, I guess. So original score. We have nominees, The Five Bloods, which deserves more nominations than it got there, but in any case. The Five Bloods for Terrence Blanchard, Mank, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, Minari, Emily Mosseri,
Emil,
that's right. News of the World, James Newton Howard, and Soul, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste. I actually would give it to Soul as far as it's a strong one for that category. It has an amazing score, one that really, truly deserves every bit it gets. I would actually give Mank as a possible spoiler. There's a lot of similarities in some ways. It has that old Hollywood vibe. The score actually, which is what it's supposed to do. It's that way of, we're going to appeal to the Oscar sensibility of old Hollywood. And then I would probably go from there to The Five Bloods, which which also had a phenomenal score. Really good for a Spike Lee movie. Then Minari and News of the World, which to me are too close for me to call between the two because they are pretty darn strong.
Okay. And did you say your preferred one?
Oh, I mean, to me, I love Soul, and the music is phenomenal, and I want to see, even if just for the alone having people take an animated film seriously in this category. Even if it wasn't for that, I would still put Soul up there.
Right. And I've said for a long time that animation should do better in this category. Usually they have great scores often. And almost all of these are really great scores. The only one that I would not hold up there as I think it's one of the year's best is Mank. I mean, Mank is good. It's very good. But it's not on that same level. I agree with you that Soul is likely to win, which is awesome and great, and I love it. There are multiple reasons, partly because it kicks ass, partly because of the love for the film, but it's also partly because the Academy does love Reznor and Ross. They won already. I think they won for The Social Network, and they've been nominated. They're double nominees this year. You know, you said there was a lot of similarities between Soul and Mank. Of course there is. It's the same composers.
Well, there you go.
Although the John Batiste, of course, is the spark that makes Soul that much better. Now, from there, I disagree with you. I think there are two potential spoilers. I think there is a chance that the tremendous backlash against the Academy almost overlooking Defy Bloods might give Terrence Blanchard a chance in this category. I also think that James Newton Howard is nominated for his 9th time for News of the World. His 9th nomination, and he has never won. And he's well-liked, well-regarded. He has done great work in the past. And I really think News of the World is a great score that's probably one of the better ones he's been nominated for. So I think both Howard and Blanchard have a shot as spoilers. I loved the score for Minari, but there's very little chance of it winning. And Mank just can't compete against those others. It might win if the movie pulls a sweep. But that's not looking very likely at this point. In a perfect world, a lot of what I just said gets echoed. I would love to see Minari win, Defy Bloods, News of the World, Soul, each of them. I have reasons why I want them to win, and it's really hard to pick a favorite. But I'll probably go with Soul because it really was probably the best of the bunch. So anyway, original song. Music written for motion pictures, original song. I have seen 3 of the ones that belong in this category. Because Judas and the Black Messiah was not a 2020 release. Just putting it out there. Nominees H.E.R., DeMille, and T.R. Thomas. DeMille, sorry, and T.R. Thomas for Fight for You, for Judas and the Black Messiah. Of the ones that were 2020 releases, we have nominees Sivan Kotecha, Max Gran, and Richard Goransson for Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest The Story of Fire Saga, Leslie Odom Jr. and Sam Ashworth for Speak Now from One Night in Miami, Celeste and Daniel Pemberton for Hear My Voice from The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Diane Warren and Laura Pausini for Yossi or Scene from the movie La Vita Davanti a Se, or The Life Ahead. Again, much like James Newton Howard, Diane Warren is for a lot. She has been nominated 12 times and has never won. She didn't freaking win for How Do I Live, or Because You Loved Me, or I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. So she has become the Glenn Close of the music branch, getting nominated again and again and again, and just not winning. And unfortunately, this will not be her year. Yossi is a good song. It's not going to win. I think the strongest one by far, the one that, I'm not sure the strongest one by far, but the one whose chances are the strongest. There was a lot of blowback over how few nods went to One Night in Miami. And Speak Now is a solid song. It's a chance to still give Leslie Odom Jr. an Oscar, even if he doesn't win for acting. I think this is going to be the token win for One Night in Miami. So very, very, very probable. the strongest spoilers are going to be Trial of the Chicago 7 and Judas and the Black Messiah. They both have very, very, very strong entries. Both of them have a shot, but they are the clear spoilers in this category. Story of Fire Saga and The Life Ahead are lucky to be here. And in a perfect world, I actually think the song from the Trial of the Chicago 7 is probably the strongest one of the bunch. But it's really hard to choose. I'd like, kind of like with James Newton Howard, I'd like to see Diane Warren get her Oscar. And it's a great song. I think it's between one. In the end, though, I'm probably going to go Trial of the Chicago 7 should win. But I would have been happy with One Night in Miami or The Life Ahead.
So we do differ in this one, not super substantially. I actually would say Fight for You with Judas and the Black Messiah for my pick to the win. I do think that Trial of Chicago 7, if it gets a win this year, and I don't think it's going to, but if it does, I think that's the next one up. And then Speak Now for One Night in Miami. I feel like that one's also going to get, if any love at all, which I don't think I think it's also going to get shut out this year, in my opinion.
He didn't jump on Eurovision as the number one going to win?
No, not at all. Now, I've said before my thoughts. I have said before about my thoughts on The Life Ahead. I think it is criminal what they did here, throwing it in the main field, knowing that it will not get a win when Sophia Loren deserved to have a Best Actress nod for her role in that. It was spectacular. It was great seeing her back in action there, again, coming out of retirement for that role. And it makes me mad that this film now can't even get nominated for International Feature because it got a nod for this song. So, with that being said, I think Diane Warren is due for a win. So that would be the one I would love to see win. Not just that, but I would love to see Life Ahead get a win since it's robbed of getting the glory it deserves. But that's on me. I think her performance was every bit as powerful as Anthony Hopkins' performance, and they have some similar things that they reflect. Matter of fact, I actually consider hers superior to his performance in that.
I don't entirely disagree because the main reason I didn't put Hopkins at number one is that Anthony Hopkins is the best person alive at playing Anthony Hopkins. No question about it. But he has an actorly presence that may or may not strike you as artificial. It strikes me as slightly artificial. Every role he does, it's like he is acting a role. Now, again, of the people who perform that way, he's one of the best. No question. And he did do a convincing portrayal of senior dementia. But there was that little actorly vibe to it that cuts down a little when you put it up against a more realistic performance like some of his and I agree, Loren was more, she seemed a little more realistic in her portrayal. Like she was more. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, even though we're not at the end, Best Picture is the next on the nomination block. So,
you just want to cover that one.
Apparently, considering as I didn't even know it was going to be before the actual end of it on this Oscar page.
Right. They want to keep you on your toes.
I'm not going to do the producers on this. So nominees: The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of the Chicago 7. Now, this is one I really do think is going to go to Nomadland. It's been critically loved. It is one that, even with me trying to not go there, I keep hearing over and over again. Even though I do not consider it the best film of the year, I hear it. I think The Father has the next up there. Again, Father has had a lot of constant praise, this, that, and the other. I think that those two are the top 2 tiers. Judas and the Black Messiah, a third. Though I haven't heard as much about it as of late. When it was coming out, I heard nothing but love for this film. That this is going to be the best that there is. This is going to win. And I think that if it doesn't go to the other 2, it'll go to that. Then Mank, because old Hollywood. Minari, because it is. Then Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of Chicago 7. I don't think that they've got a chance at all at winning. Though I'd love to see Sound of Metal get more praise than it has gotten. It's just not going to do it. What I would like to see win, it's actually kind of a tie between Judas and the Black Messiah and Sound of Metal. I would like to see those win, but I don't think it's going to go to either.
All right. So for me, I have seen 7 of the 2020 releases. And again, it's kind of BS that they have 10 possible slots and they only picked 8.
Oh, that pissed me off.
What the hell? What the heck? I mean, I guess it's better than 9 because at least there's not one snub, but still, you couldn't make room for a couple other great films. Yeah. I do agree, regrettably, somewhat, that Nomadland probably has this one in the bag. It does seem to be the clear front runner. It's not everyone's pick for number 1, but everyone seems to agree it is the front runner. The second one is harder to call. Earlier in the season, it was clearly likely to be the Trial of the Chicago 7. There was a time when Mank was a front runner. There was a time when Promising Young Woman was a front runner. Even Judas and the Black Messiah. I'm not sure The Father really ever quite reached the level of front runner status, but it could be a spoiler. I would actually say the most likely spoiler, just because the people that love it, is probably going to be Minari. I think that after Nomadland, Minari is the most likely spoiler. I'm going to give The Father a close third. Judas and the Black Messiah and Mank are probably and the Trial of the Chicago 7. I'd put all of them as too close to call. And probably Promising Young Woman, and then Sound of Metal, sadly, is last because it's the one everyone was surprised got in. Which baffles me because, A, the critics were saying for months that it was one of the best films of the year, right up there with Nomadland. And B, it is the best film of the year. In a perfect world, Sound of Metal would win easily.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not going to. So, yeah. Will be Nomadland, should be Sound of Metal.
All right. Go for it.
Production design. Let me find my nominees here. Okay, we have Mark Ricker, Karen O'Hara, and Diana Stoughton for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. David Crank and Elizabeth Keenan for News of the World. Peter Francis and Kathy Featherstone for The Father. Donald Graham Burt and Jan Pascal for Mank. And Nathan Crowley and Kathy Lucas for Tenet. We finally see Chris Nolan's film here. I am going to say all of these films had pretty freaking awesome production design. I'm not going to knock it. All of them were excellent production design. But the film that is pretty much considered the solid front runner here is Mank. Mank is very, very likely. It recreated old Hollywood very, very, very well. They did it. They had some impressive looking sets. They did a great job with the production. The Father and Tenet are probably the spoilers. I'd like to say News of the World, but honestly, Tenet is flashy. It's a world traipsing film that has all these really nice looking sets. And The Father, just like the editing, they used the production to pull some weird tricks on the audience to help keep you off center and off balance, just like he is. And that deserves props. Honestly, Ma Rainey suffers just because it's such a focused production. There's only a very small area that they're doing. It's a very focused production. And even though it was great, it's just not on the same level as the other four. And I hate to say News of the World is barely ahead of it, but I think it probably is barely ahead of it. So Mank is the clear winner. In a perfect world, I really am inclined to go with Mank, although I would put News of the World as a second in that case.
So my nominations are, mine are not that different from yours. I do think Mank is going to take the win. I think Tenet is a close second because Christopher Nolan. The Father, though, being right up there. Again, very excellent production design. News of the World did a very good job, but I don't think it has a shot to beat those three. And Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, again, is limited scope, I guess is the word. But still, I mean, good, solid enough, but not in the same brackets. So I would still give it to Mank, even in the perfect world. If anything, it deserves that win. I will give it that. So, I don't know why I have such disdain for Mank. It's a good film. I
actually liked it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a good film. I didn't hate the film. Don't take my word that I disliked it.
Now, actually, the next category is one of the few that I did dislike.
So, which one? Well, we're going to go down it then.
Yep.
So, of course, short film animated. Burrow, Madeline Sharafian and Michael Caporat. Genius Loki, Adrian Marieux and Emre Ovis. If Anything Happens, I Love You, Will McCormick and Michael Govier. Opera, Eric O. Yes People, Gisli Dari Haldorsson and Arnar Gunnarsson. Any case. So to me, the one that seems like it would be the easy front runner would be If Anything Happens, I Love You. I look at this the same way I look at Grave of the Fireflies. I consider it purposefully manipulative, and that does kind of piss me off. Which I'll talk more on that when we have our Grave of the Fireflies discussion. But with this one, I do feel it's purposely manipulative, but I do feel because, one, it speaks to our time, especially since we've had two recent shootings in the news.
More than that.
Yeah, well, two high-profile ones, I should say, anyway. We have a crap ton, unfortunately. But I do think it brings a lot to that table. So, yes, that one is, to me, the obvious winner. I think Opera and Genius Loki are going to be the two potential spoilers. I consider them neck and neck for how artsy they are. With Genius Loki having a strange art house vibe and art style, and Opera being just plain weird. Not that Genius Loki wasn't weird in its own way.
But opera was a special kind of weird.
Oh, yes, it was. And and the reason why I edged opera just ahead of Genius Loki, but only by a hair, is because it is so unique in the way it presented itself. I will give it that. Genius Loki comes across as a truly artsy short animated film, but I've seen the like in the past. I have not quite seen the like of opera. Yes, People and Burrow, I feel like they're both very delightful short films, but I don't think they have a shot in hell.
Good to watch after, if anything happens.
Yes. Very good to end. You're just going to feel odd if you watch Genius Loki or opera after that. As far as what I think should win, I'll probably still give it to If Anything Happens, I Love You, even though I don't want to, but I will anyway.
Okay. It's my go?
Yep.
All right. Now, this is one where I've alluded to a couple things about this category. First of all, I said there was one that was a lock. If Anything Happens, I Love You is going to win. It is far and away the biggest lock among the short film categories. It's rare that you get this much talk and this much consensus on a single short film. And people have been raving about this one. And I disagree with you. I don't mind something that's baldly manipulative if it works for me. I admit, when it doesn't work for you, it comes off as baldly manipulative, and but this one did give me the feels, and I don't mind saying that, and I absolutely was blown away by it, and I will happily say that is clearly the winner. This one's actually harder to call a second. The temptation would be Burrow because it's a Pixar production, and just because it is such a delightful little film. Or maybe Opera or Genius Loki because they're so friggin' weird, but I see them being more divisive and not getting enough votes. Yes, People might sneak in there just because it's fairly delightful and weird. You know, it's entertaining and weird. It's a good combination. Now, as far as should win, this is where I mentioned, of all the nominees I've seen, there's probably one that I strongly disagree with, and that is Genius Loki. QJ Sherman. That French films, pretentious, boring French films. This is the epitome of a pretentious, boring French film.
Yeah.
It's so pretentious, and it did not grab me at all. I've actually watched a couple of other animated shorts that I liked better than this one. Opera was just weird.
It was.
But once it grabbed me, though, I was hooked. At first I was like, what the hell is this? It's not really a movie per se, but it's an animation, and it's just weird. Burrow and Yes People were both delightful. I'd love to see one of them win just because they were delightful. But really, if anything happens, I love you. This is its year. It will win, and it should win.
Yeah. The only other things by Opera and Genius Loki, of course, they both really involve people of color.
Right.
It's so it kind of does have that to it. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So now we're on live action short. Are you talking about involving people of color or race relations or whatever? This one.
Yes.
Ooh boy. So live action short is actually the hardest short category to call, I think, this year. So our 5 nominees: Doug Rowland and Sue Rosensky for Feeling Through, Elvira Lind and Sophia Sondervan for The Letter Room, Farah Nabulsi and Osama Bewardi for The Present, Travon Free and Martin Desmond Rowe for Two Distant Strangers, and Tomer Shushan and Shira Hutchman for White Eye. Now, like I said, this one's hard to call. And I am going I feel like I'm going out on a limb on this one almost as much as Best Actress. In the end, the one that seems to have the most people buzzing about it to win is The Letter Room. And that might be because it stars Oscar Isaac, and he's definitely a well-known and extraordinarily talented actor. And it also features Alia Shawkat, who's, pretty cool too. But it also is probably the most upbeat, easily the most upbeat.
That's not hard.
It's kind of a bit of, Feeling Through in the end is kind of uplifting.
Yeah.
But The Letter Room really had more of a serio-comic tone to it all the way through. And I don't really think it's the strongest one of the bunch, but I think star power might win out in this one, and it could win. But Feeling Through has the very notable thing that apparently it features the first ever deafblind actor in a film,
that was
supposedly. Awesome. And it's a really kind of heartfelt, touching little film about as a homeless youth who happens to be black and this deafblind guy. Two Distant Strangers really feels like it's trying hard to be a movie of the moment. I quipped that it was Groundhog Day for the Black Lives Matter crowd. And I think it has a lot of people that will pull for it. And The Present, another very topical one, very, very much so. One could argue the same for Wide Eye, but I think Wide Eye is the least likely of the bunch. I would almost say after The Letter Room, Feeling Through is the likely spoiler, with Two Distant Strangers being right behind it. And I hate to say it, but The Present is probably a clear fourth. In a perfect world, The Present would win it in a walk. That film was freaking awesome. That one really got to me. I would say Feeling Through and Two Distant Strangers were also both better than The Letter Room. But maybe The Letter Room will win. The Present really should win.
For me, it's kind of a different rundown for different reasons. Two Different Strangers, it is topical. I think it's going to take the win. But the reason for it is, again, it is such a fairly recent topic. We have the trial of the person who killed.
Right.
Oh, gosh. It's sad that I can't remember any names. But the guy, I'm not even going to say
Floyd.
Yeah. That's a very topical thing. It is huge. That's happening right now in the present, which is my spoiler, because again, very topical about the day and age that it is in, and I think it actually is a very well and well done put together film. Wide Eye in a third. Oddly enough, out of the ones, the only one I kept hearing about other than The Letter Room was Wide Eye, as I was looking for short films in the year, because I was trying to grab it so I could see it. It's the hardest one to see, but it has gotten such high praise in the country it has been made in, and it does have a subtle message that could see it through. Feeling Through, I think that having that first deafblind actor is a huge thing. I don't think it's going to be enough to pull it ahead. And The Letter Room, if it wins, it's going to win by star power, because I do feel it's the weakest of the group. Now, in a world that I feel like at the best of times, it's a tie between Feeling Through and Two Distant Strangers, and because I do feel the power that is behind Two Distant Strangers. I think that they did it in a very good way, and I love the picture that he has of himself with the dog, the painting that he has. But Feeling Through would edge it out just a hair, just because I do feel it highlights several things, not just disability, but race in itself. But I also think that the Oscars don't give a crap about disability, so it's not going to get anywhere. But I think it should.
Right.
So that's my thoughts. And
Okay.
back to it again for sound. Boy, if the Oscars actually did it in this order of presentation, he would be like, why are you still going?
Oh, I'd be watching.
Yeah, I'd be
I think
watching
it'd
it
be
too,
weird.
but I think it'd be very weird. He would be confused. I'd be leaving. I was like, all right, best picture is like, wait, they still got it. What's going on? All right, so sound. Nominees. Greyhound. I think it's its only nomination, with Warren Shaw, Michael Minkler, Bo Borders, and David Wyman. Mank. Ren Kleiss, Jeremy Mollad, David Parker, Nathan Nance, and Drew Coonan. News of the World, Oliver Tarney, Mike Prestonwood Smith, William Miller, and John Pritchett. Soul, Ren Kleiss, Koya Elliott, and David Parker. Sound of Metal, Nicholas Becker, Jamie Bakst, Michel Cotoling, Carlos Cortez, and Philip Blah.
Carlos Cortez Navarrete.
It doesn't have Navarrete at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk about sound. So from what I have heard here, I feel like News of the World has a good shot at taking it this time around, along with Mank being a second one up. I think that Soul could have a shot at this, and it's cool to see Soul nominated for so many beyond.
It is.
It would have been nice if they did 10 nominees for Best Picture, and Soul was on that list, as it should have been.
Yes.
Sound of Metal. I wrote in here Sound of Music. Yes, the Sound of Music definitely deserves a Sound Award. The Sound of Metal.
Clearly.
And sound was such a high amount of use in this, and it probably should rank higher on the list. I just don't think it's going to be there, and I think Greyhound is just lucky to be there, all things being said. Though, again, not a single one of these films was bad in the category of sound. Now, in a perfect world, it would be between Soul and Sound of Metal, because both of those, in my opinion, are the best use of sound, and I can't really decide between the two.
Okay. Well, I have not yet seen Greyhound, but that does not matter because this is Sound of Metal's category to lose. Whatever you may think about the film's overall chances, this is a freaking music-heavy film about a drummer who's going deaf that uses sound to let the audience know what he's going through. And it does it well. So Sound of Metal is the clear leader here. Soul is a possible if I had more faith in the Academy choosing an animated feature. I would say it's the strong spoiler. But honestly, if there's a spoiler at all, I'm almost tempted to say News of the World and Mank have just as much claim to it as Soul does. News of the World did have that sandstorm sequence that was pretty phenomenally done And the sound overall was great. And Mank was, on a technical scale, a solid film. But this is the kind of, this is something where, I mean, as a lot of the commentators mentioned, Sound of Metal has the category in the title. It's going to win.
So I just don't have faith in the Oscars. I actually think they'll look at this as a film for a person with disability and they'll ignore it.
I actually think that I would, because this category should be dominated by animation, and I think it's flippin' awesome that an animated film got nominated. I want to say In a Perfect World, Soul would win, but no, Sound of Metal in a Perfect World will win this award. There's just no other answer. But Soul is a close second. Okay. Am I going
effects, yep.
Visual effects. And of course, I'm presenting one of the categories where I ain't seen crap, which is weird. Weird. Most years I've seen this category in completion long before the Oscars. It's weird. But as it stands, I have seen Tenet and I have seen Mulan. So I have not seen three that we have not yet heard about tonight. So Tenet, our nominees are Andrew Jackson, Andrew Lockley, David Lee, and Scott R. Fisher. For Mulan, we have Sean Andrew Faden, Anders Langlands, Seth Morey, and Steve Ingram. For The Midnight Sky, we have Matt Casimir, Chris Lawrence, Max Solomon, and David Watkins. For Love and Monsters, we have Matt Sloan, Genevieve Camilleri, Matt Everett, and Brian Cox. Probably not that Brian Cox. And the one and only Ivan, we have Nick Davis, Greg Fisher, Ben Jones, and Santiago Colomo. Now, I've only seen the two, but most of what I've heard is that Tenet will win this category. People seem to feel this will be its token win. Personally, I thought that they could have done better with the effects, that a lot of the visual trickery in Tenet probably had as much or more to do with the camera work and editing than actual visual effects. But it seems likely that it will win for visual effects. Based on what I've heard, The Midnight Sky might be the likely spoiler because I've heard the effects are pretty friggin' solid in that one. I just don't see Love and Monsters or the one and only Ivan getting enough votes to pull this win. They're probably lucky to be here. Mulan is probably the third. Of the ones I've seen, in all honesty, I thought Mulan had more impressive visual effects than Tenet did. So I guess in a perfect world, I'd have to say Mulan with a great big asterisk. And right next to that asterisk, I'd have to say, where in the freaking hell is Birds of Prey? Where in the freaking hell are some of the others that got shut out of this category?
Yeah. This is another one that could have, I mean, even Wonder Woman 84 had spectacular visual effects.
I wouldn't say spectacular, but they were at least on the same level as Tenet.
So, I mean, I think that Tenet is going to take the win. I mean, again, this is Christopher Nolan's category to lose. I think Mulan is going to be the potential spoiler. As much as I hate Mulan, it does have spectacular visual effects. And I do think that if it wins anything, it's going to win here. Midnight Sky is a very close third. Love and Monsters and the one and only, I mean, Love and Monsters, I'm going to get back to you, but that's my fourth. And then one and only Ivan, very pretty movie. It is a very pretty movie. And
I've heard the creature effects were phenomenal.
Yes, very, very much so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does deserve to be there. As a matter of fact, all of these nominees deserve to be there in one form or another. Maybe not Tenet, but it is what it is. To me, Love and Monsters is the one I would put up. For the film of its type to get nominated already tells you that it has spectacular visual effects because the Oscars are snobby. They would never put a movie like this in here if it did not.
Right.
And
I mean, Exhibit A, Bloodshot, was surprisingly on the short list, and it had incredible visual effects. But yeah, there was no way that was getting a nod.
So, Love and Monsters, just to me, it blew the others out of the water. It not only utilized its effects to create some amazing monsters and mutations from the peak of the imagination, it used it in world building as well. It should have been up for more than that. It should have been up for production design as well. It was kind of, well, again, it's the effect of Oscar snobbery. I am hoping in our own awards show we will not have that level of snobbery, but we will see. Time will tell.
I'll be watching Love and Monsters this week.
It is a good film. And so with that, I would say my pick for what I would like to see win would be Love and Monsters, but it ain't going to win.
Right.
So adapted screenplay for writing. Why is it every time this film comes up, I'm the one who gets it? All right, so Borat, subsequent movie film, delivery of prestigious bribe to American regime to make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Screenplay, and again and this was also a troll by this dude as well. Screenplay by Sacha Baron Cohen and Anthony Hines and Dan Swimmer and Peter Bainham and Erica Rivinoja and Dan Meiser and Jenna Friedman and Lee Kern. Story by Sacha Baron Cohen and Anthony Hines and Dan Swimmer and Nina Pedrad.
Yes.
The Father, screenplay by Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller. Much better. Nomadland, written for the screen by Chloe Zhao. One Night in Miami, screenplay by Kemp Powers. White Tiger, written by Ramin Bahani, and this is the only time White Tiger is seen, and it was an excellent film. I am sad that it wasn't up for more things. It was really good. But that being said...
2021 release.
But that being said, it's not going to win. So, Nomadland, to me, is going to take the win. With a potential spoiler either going to The Father or One Night in Miami. Borat and White Tiger ain't got a chance. There's no way. I put the White Tiger a little bit above Borat because I do feel it is a better film, but that's only personal preference. I think they really are kind of neck and neck for last place, but I do feel like Nomadland has got the win on this one pretty easy. I do think though that if one of them comes in, The Father and One Night in Miami would be there next. If I was to give it in a perfect world, One Night in Miami. One Night in Miami had spectacular dialogue, some of the best I have heard in film, and that takes amazing and excellent writing. So I'd like to see it win.
Okay, so for adapted screenplay, I may be going on a limb here. And maybe a lot of the buzz, a lot of the indications are that of the 2020 releases nominated, the one I have not seen, Nomadland, seems to be the favorite to win, but only by a hair. And there are a lot of people inclined to feel that one of the two, based on plays and adapted by the playwrights, The Father and One Night in Miami, have a chance in this category. So I'm going to kind of go out on a limb and pick The Father to win this one. Nomadland is going to be the spoiler by that calculus because it's very, very, very close. One Night in Miami is a distant third, but it, I think, is definitely in third place. I agree with you that The White Tiger edges Borat, but I don't think either one has a chance here.
So we agree on that as well.
We do. In a perfect world, with the huge asterisk that I have not seen Nomadland and refuse to count The White Tiger because it's not a 2020 release, in a perfect world, it would be up between One Night in Miami and The Father, and it's a tough call. I thought they were both excellent screenplays, and it's really, 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 really hard to call. I'd probably go with The Father just again because the way the film sucks you into his dementia was very impressive. And part of that was built on the writing. But I agree that the dialogue in One Night in Miami was pretty phenomenal as well.
All right, take us home. Let's end this.
Last one. And of course, the last one has an interloper. So, original screenplay. I have seen all four of the ones that should be here. I have not seen Judas and the Black Messiah, which is nominated for original screenplay by Will Burson, Shaka King, Kenneth Lucas, and Keith Lucas. Lee Isaac Chung is nominated for Minari. Emerald Fennell is nominated for Promising Young Woman. Darius Martyr, Abraham Martyr, and Derek Cianfrance are nominated for Sound of Metal. And Aaron Sorkin is nominated for The Trial of the Chicago 7. Up until recently, there was a large contingent believing that this was Sorkin's category to lose. And I still think he has a strong shot. But this is very probably going to be the strongest chance for Promising Young Woman to win. If Mulligan does not pull it up with actress, this will probably be its token win. So I think this is very, 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 very likely going to go to Promising Young Woman with Trial of the Chicago 7 as a strong spoiler. Any one of the other three could be a distant third, but I really think all three of the others are on the outside looking in. And in a perfect world, I'd give it to Sound of Metal easily, but Minari, Promising Young Woman, and Trial of Chicago 7 are all excellent, and it's really hard not to go with them. I just really, 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 really hate that Judas and the Black Messiah stole that spot from Soul.
And it won't.
Soul could.
And it will have zero chance of winning next year's.
Yes, but Sound of Metal should win. Promising Young Woman probably will win.
So, as far as original screenplay, I have a differing account on this. Actually, again, I think the Trial of Chicago 7 is going to be a shutout, so I give it zero chance. Judas and the Black Messiah, I think, is going to win this one. I do feel I felt strongly about this. I don't feel as strongly about it as I have in the past, as like a month ago. But I still feel like it's going to take the win. The spoiler being Promising Young Woman, I think that is also like right up there. Sound of Metal and Minari, right in there in the middle. Both strong scripts, and in a perfect world, Sound of Metal would definitely take this in a heartbeat. But I do think that one's also going to be snubbed as well because Oscars don't like people with disabilities, and they're not gonna. And I think that they don't have to worry about being called for it. So that's so I'm calling them out right now. Unless you guys change my mind, change my mind at the awards, Oscars. Change my mind at the awards.
Right.
Prove
and
me
ultimately,
wrong.
we have a field of contenders that might change some minds about the Oscars. We'll see.
So it is a great field of nominees this year, as far as diversity, as far as inclusivity, and as far as good films. I think we are getting closer. All things aside, if we were to take the 2020, 2021 films aside, and just say that all these films, pretend that all these films came out the same year for that time. If we were to pretend that, I could safely say that there is not a single film in this group that is crap quality. I think all these films are of excellent quality, and there's not a single one that I wouldn't say shouldn't be seen. Well, maybe Eurovision. But otherwise, yes.
Well, none that shouldn't be seen. I haven't seen Eurovision yet. None that shouldn't be seen. Although, like I said, Genius Loki is definitely not Oscar level. And a couple of the others might be debatable.
And its pretentiousness and artsiness it is.
Yes. It is that.
But they're all
right.
Very good quality of this year, including the 2021 ones. Despite it that they're there, it just does not mean that these are bad films and that they would not deserve to be nominated for next year's Oscars for any reason.
They just should have been nominated next year.
Well, too bad they won't be here at all. We won't even be talking about them.
I know. Well, we will for our awards, because our awards will follow the proper calendar year.
If I can remember their existence by that time.
Right.
So with that being said, we are going to end this vlogcast, and join us next week as we talk about the winners of this year, and with luck, the ones that we have asterisks are going to win, and not the ones that we think are going to win.
So, but in the meantime, definitely leave your comments below. Let us know what you think should win.
Yes.
Do you think that I'm just completely full of it, and calendar year means nothing, and it should just be whatever? Or do you think that the pretentious, boring French film is obviously better than the any other contender? Or do you disagree with him that Eurovision was a masterclass in art and pretentiousness and Fellini levels even? What do you think?
And hey, if you believe that the nomination should be based on what the people who voted on nominees have seen this year instead of when they came out, there you go.
That'd be something.
That'd be a very weird grouping.
It would be.
All right, well, you all take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.